Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the first in a series of events in which we're going to learn from Climate and Clean Air Coalition member countries and others on successes in reducing short-lived climate pollutants. Obviously, today is the focus on waste and particularly organic waste. Today, we're going to hear from Argentina. We're very lucky to hear from Argentina on the significant progress they've made in recent years. And we're also going to learn from their dialogue with Ghana and others as well as the Q&A session. My name's Donovan Story. I'm the waste expert at the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. I've also got my colleagues Sandra Cavalieri and Sandra Mazonix online as well, so you'll see them pop up from time to time, particularly in the chat room. As a little bit of background, the Climate and Clean Air Coalition is a voluntary partnership and initiative of UNEP. It's an initiative now of over 160 governments and intergovernmental organisations and NGOs, founded in 2012. It's the only international body working to reduce short-lived climate pollutants, obviously and namely methane, black carbon, hydrofluorocarbons, and tropospheric ozone, which drive air pollution and climate change. Obviously, waste is a very important part of CCAC's work, and we know that improving waste management is critical to reducing short-lived climate pollutants, in particular methane, but it also has the capacity to deliver on broader environmental, economic and health benefits. We know also that municipal solid waste is the third largest source of anthropogenic methane emissions globally, through dumping and landfilled organic waste. And in the developing countries in the global south, over 50% of municipal waste is organic, with landfills being the primary recipient of organic waste, which we know we have to change. We also know that waste management makes up around 20% of global anthropogenic methane emissions. So the waste sector is a very important contributor and driver to a lot of these issues which we need to address. We had a great seminar a couple of weeks ago. You'll see the resources on the CCAC website on that, on the plan to eliminate open burning of waste and how important that is, particularly for the reductions in black carbon, but also for broader health benefits as well. So please go back to that seminar. This seminar series is really an opportunity, and the reasons that we called it Recipes for Success is really to learn about successful examples, practices, what we can take from those, and to have an open conversation and dialogue as well. And to that end, it would be fantastic if you use the chat box, not only to raise questions, obviously, for our speakers today, but also to be able to suggest ideas for future seminars, which we'll be very happy to help organise as well. So today we're very lucky to hear from Argentina, in particular presentation from Patricia Fernandez, who's a technical advisor to the Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development. We'll hear on Argentina's performance in recent years on organic waste, and particularly valorisation and diversion of organic waste from landfills, and what has been achieved in Argentina. That'll be followed by a brief interlude by a representative from Ghana, who will introduce at the time, and then a dialogue between Argentina and Ghana, and then we'll open the floor to others as well. So I think that's a nice enough start for the day and an introduction, hopefully, to the session. And I'll now pass over to Patricia, and looking forward to your presentation, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you, Donovan. Good morning to everyone. I would like to thanks to CCAC for this opportunity. Of course, to our project coordinator, Sandra Mazonix, and all the CCAC teams for the support. Of course, to all of you who are connected to listen our experience from Argentina. I would like to share my screen. I can see my screen right now.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I am Patricia Fernandez. I am civil engineer, and I have a master's science in environmental engineering too. This project that is titled Supporting Argentina from NDC to Action, Methane Reduction through Organic Waste Diversion and Use in the country are executed in the Division of Environmental Quality and Remediation in the Environmental Ministry of Nation in Argentina, of course. Is joined to me in this work Walter Ordinas, that is engineering too, and he's expert in composting with 20 years of experience in that kind of treatment. This project has an execution period of 2 years, was initiated in June 2022 and will end in May 2024. About this project aims to improve organic waste management in Argentina by supporting local jurisdiction to implement national regulations. This goal will be achieved by helping build capacity among local actors to transform their organic waste into valuable products such as compost or digestate. For us, the baseline is organic waste is the main responsible for the emissions that are generated in the final disposal sites. And in Argentina, we still have 25% of uncontrolled final disposal sites. Through the greater capacity for government entities to act against the SLCP, we can increase the amount of organic waste that is treated through composting or anaerobic digestion, thus avoiding its disposal. Generation of valuable information for the preparation of technical guide, trainings, and development of a registry that allows knowing the available of byproducts. We also have update or establish new plans, policies, or strategies in order to valorize byproduct of organic origin like compost or digestate, biosolid, industrial sewage, and others through their use as amendments, fertilizer, or soil improvers. In order to achieve this result, we have proposed a series of activities that begin with trainings, because we consider very important this fact. We deliver training sessions in municipalities, provinces, wholesale market, industry, academics, etc. We have done technical assistance too in different topics like equipment and machineries, municipal and provincial strategy, separation and segregation like a principal strategy to valorize the organic waste, improve collection logistic, supply of organic in the municipality, estimation of emission, of course, and review of existing plans and funded needs. We are to data collection about infrastructure needs, capacity building, and plan existing in the municipalities. We done diffusion and exchange of information through international webinars and workshops and technical trainings, because it's important to know other initiatives in other countries in the Latin American or Europe include strategies. National plan service, that is important because we have the number operating plans and plans in project. We developed regulatory tool between many groups with different stakeholders and national levels. We create or build networking between inter-institutional partnership like universities, research institute, municipal and provincial government. We develop projects. We are technical assistants in that way, from big generation, municipal plans, designs or optimization plans, and design of machinery to municipalities. And finally, develop methodologies and guidelines, not only for the pilot project that we see in a minute, but we want to make available some information as a product that this project. We have many regulations. That regulation begins or based in the national constitution, but we have or we were maybe like a necessity to improve the facility of sanitary solutions. In this sense, we have three principles resolutions that base this project. Two of them are technical standard with no mandatory compliance. That are the first one, this resolution about sludge and biosolid from sewage and mixed sewage industrial plant. And the second one is that about digestate from biodigestion plants. The only with the mandatory compliance is the joint resolution that is between the Environmental Ministry and the National Service of Health and Agri-Food Quality, called SENASA in Spanish, that is the control organism in Argentina. In this joint resolution, we establish quality parameters and form of use of material resulting from organic waste treatment. But we support this joint resolution with another resolution with, from SENASA, that is that in where we see a guide to the registration of fertilizer, amendment, and materials like compost in all the Republic of Argentina. The most remarkable is this project create the base to the resolution that create the Organic Valorization National Program in January in 2023. But and we create the resolution about institutional composting too. We have a complement with the joint resolution that is the guide for the technical committee on the compost management. That is interesting because we congregate in that committee many specialists at national level in composting. Sorry. We have support in two resolutions too. The first one is about the resolutions that is a regulation of law at the minimum budget that is called here in Argentina for the main law about the management of waste. And the second one is a resolution that promotes organic recovery about materials like compost. But the very important situation here is in that resolution, we create or we name a compost like a treatment to valorize the organic waste and promote the separation like a strategy in order to valorize the waste. In our visit in the national territory, we detect some needs. That needs are optimization of municipal waste management, incorporating organic valorization programs, promotion of separation and segregation as a best practices that help to optimize organic recovery processes, standardization of processes to optimize treatment like composting or biodigestion, anaerobic biodigestion, control, monitoring, and supervision of treatment to improve practices and make it environmentally safe and ensure the quality of byproduct local, which is very important to commercialize this product after. Technical trainings at public and private levels on the type of treatment, and finally improve at work on new regulation to promote the certification and use of byproduct, especially about digestate, because about compost we can register and commercialize the product. In our training, we explain the importance to transition from linear to circular model. If you think we have the problem that actually is not a problem, is a resource like waste, we have the technologies, and through these technologies, we can obtain some products that are positive to use. So if we have organic fraction on solid waste, domestic or industrial wastewater, and agricultural waste, we have the treatment like composting or anaerobic digestion. We have plants for treatment for wastewater, and we can obtain that kind of byproducts and take advantage of the property present in that byproducts. They have a good consequence. The good consequence is a perfect model to circular economy, and we can mitigate methane emissions too about this practice. So in the circular model, we have the waste, we have the technologies or treatment, we have the byproducts that can obtain, we have the regulations. We need to comply the law in order to can apply these products and become the waste in raw materials to generate value-added products that can be applied to the soils to replace inorganic fertilizer and reduce methane emissions. This project are executed in 3 pilot projects. In Buenos Aires province, because the project was created in pandemic time. The first one is Escobar Market, the second one is the Buenos Aires Central Market, and the last one is Luján Municipality Wastewater Treatment Plant. In the first case, about the Escobar Market, Escobar biodigester, anaerobic biodigester was donated from UNED in 2021. And the ministry gave to the municipality of Escobar, and Escobar decided to put this biodigester in the market because it's a big generator in the municipality. So all these activities we have done, others are for the futures. We have in the maybe month 13 of the project. And the more remarkable in that case is that we need to apply the digestate in crops in the same municipality. That is some pictures from the market, and in the screen we can see the improve about the management of the waste. And then we can see all the activities, or some of all activities that we have done for this project. The second one project is in Buenos Aires Central Market. Is about composting of fruit and vegetable waste in the market. This pilot project have a strong program, not only from organic valorization, because they have a composting plan. They have a very strong program about food recovery, and this food is donated to social organizations. It's a very good program, and is a very strong ally for this project, the Central Market. We see in the picture, in the screen, some photos about the food that is recovering, about the program, that is the composting plan, and all the activities in the market. The final project is composting of a sludge from sewage effluent treatment in Luján municipality. We have done some activities, but it's remarkable in this project that the execution of the plan of composting for the analyze the quality of composting from sludge began 3 months ago, I think. And the result or the compost that obtained, we can use to remediate open air dump. Actually, in Luján, the landfill, no control landfill, open air dump is closed, and the ministry are construct the new site for disposal of waste, a landfill. That is some pictures. That is the sludge, and the confirmation of a composting plan for this analyze. We have done surveys. We have visited 45 municipalities in all the territory from north to south in Argentina, and through that service, we know that 40% of that municipality have a segregation program, and 15% of that are successfully. They have in all that 45 municipality a composting plant that represents the 15%, and we have 10 plans about anaerobic digestion, that which are 3 of these are municipal plans. For in result, we have in Escobar Market, we have 230 tons of organic waste from the final disposal are deviated since 2021 to date. In Luján, 36 tons of sewage sludge has been diverted this year as a result of the start of the sewage sludge composting trial for this project. And the more remarkable, in the Central Market, Buenos Aires Central Market, since the installation of its program, it has managed to diverse 4,230 tons of organic waste to final disposal, and have produced 3,000 tons of compost from 2020 to the present date. We absorbed and visit biodigestion plants too from different scales, and we know right now the principal challenge about this kind of treatment in Argentina. About all this action, like national service, pilot project result that is an activity in execution, percent of training municipalities and other stakeholders, percent of train in organic treatment system in stakeholders, public or private, estimate avoided emissions, development of guidelines and methodologies, and implementation of valorization program, we hope increase the amount of organic waste diverted from the planning of recovery projects. Of course, Walter and me are not alone. We have partnership like other people inside the ministry, like Norberto Vidal and Lucila Cuneo, that are strong collaborating in that project. About another project, in the case of Norberto, about the assessment and deliver a methane roadmap to Argentina. And we have other strong alliance, not only in the municipals that we execute the pilot project, but we have a very good alliance with the Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries Secretary, national institution called INTA, that is about agriculture technology, and INTI, that is the national institution from industrial technology, that is a researchers institute and conform and very good partnership for the execute this project. Thank you very much. And well, in that picture, we can see to our coordinator, Sandra, in her visit to Argentina in June from this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Fantastic presentation, very comprehensive. A couple of really nice questions as well. So please keep those coming in. But first of all, I think we'll turn to Ghana. Ghana would also like to do a sharing of their recent experiences and efforts in terms of working with organic waste and broadly waste management as well. So Daniel, if you're on the line now, Daniel Benepour, who's from the Environmental Protection Agency in the government of Ghana. Daniel, are you there at the moment? Oh, here he comes.
Yes, yes.
Hello, Daniel. How are you? Nice to see you. So very happy to hear your sharing and also your reflections as well.
Yes. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share our experiences on this. The example from Argentina is very fantastic, and I think that one very important lesson that I've learned is about the attempt to operationalize the concept of circularity on the ground, right? So it is the effort to see that some effort is being made to implement that concept on the ground, and that for me is a very important lesson to take from this. Then the other important aspect of it is also the early lessons and challenges that have been highlighted, and again we stand to learn a lot from this, that circularity is possible, but it comes with its own challenges, and then there are ways and means of addressing them. And one of it, very importantly for us, is the idea of bringing private sector and government working together to deliver a solution. And that for me is a very important lesson for us. And in that regard, one very critical area of interest is about the scaling up of these lessons and how we can mobilize government effort and private sector to scale it up. And for us in Ghana, one area is this issue of the use of public-private partnership financial instruments to be able to facilitate private sector partnerships or participation in the sustainable management of waste. And that area is where I want to focus my remark on, building on what Patricia already shared. That in Ghana, they are quite the most commonest financing model in the waste management sector is definitely the private sector participation in waste management. And it began with the whole idea of franchise, of allowing private sector to perform some limited functions in waste collection and transportation and disposal. And it's on the basis that the local governments were not equipped enough to perform these functions in terms of logistics, in terms of financing, in terms of machinery, and therefore they had to allow private sector to come in and provide that services because they have the capacity to do so. So that's the first point. The second point is that the model of franchise has over time evolved to the point where now private sector has even gone to the level of being part of the disposal of waste, to the extent that private sector is bringing in innovation in how to dispose of waste. And one example is definitely the example where private sector is now having the leverage to use biological treatment, composting, as a means to dispose of waste. And that example is what I want to highlight on. That the evolution of the franchise system had in itself moved from being limited to collection of waste and transportation of waste to the point where private sector can now bring innovation and explore other cost-effective ways of managing waste at the downstream. And that in itself, in my view, is bringing innovation. All right. And the innovation is about venturing into high-risk areas where clearly government alone couldn't have done it. So that's the first point. Second point is also the fact that even though private sector is now involved in the in composting, government would have to still work with private sector to expand the market of composting, because then the issue of quality of the composting, the issue of government regulation, the issue of standards is still relevant, right? So it's not enough to produce a compost without looking at the standards and the quality issues. Again, that area is an area where our colleagues from the Ministry of Sanitation would have to look into that. That whilst we are promoting private sector involvement in composting side, how do we ensure that we facilitate the market improvement by focusing on clear policy intent, clear standardization, and ensuring that there is quality assurance for the use of the compost. One more point, and I think that will be all for me, is the fact that, again, the involvement of private sector in the waste management side is in itself bringing innovation in financing, right? So again, taking into account the fact that the government or the local government are not financially well without, the use of carbon market is a very useful instrument that is being used in Ghana to support the investment into the composting side. So again, private sector is being bold and also trying to use any available means of financing compost projects in the country. And I think that is also worth sharing. So all in all, I want to congratulate Patricia and your colleagues. That is a good example that we are happy to learn from, and also see how best we can scale it up, and the lessons in Ghana, even as we are trying to take advantage of the opportunities that the market presents. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
That's great, Daniel. Patricia, would you like to address those? I think they were great questions, and I know that you've considered them in the context of Argentina. So it would be really, really useful to hear your responses, because I think that Daniel has really summarized some key challenges for a number of countries. And I know that, you know, Argentina has also had to wrestle with these, but has also found its way, if not to a complete sense, at least it is working across these issues. So your responses to Daniel would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Donovan. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for your comments. It's true, all the reality that you can explain. We live here in Argentina too, all that this subject or aspect. We try to integrate the component of the project to maximize the circular economy based in the training to a stakeholder. We consider that trainings is very important, because in the way that you minimize or optimize or the knowledge in local people, you can improve all the treatments about waste. We have a strategy in all trainings and in all the experience at the national territory, proposing separation in origin as a main strategy, as one of the best possible practice to optimize the local economies, and which makes the evaluation of good quality of material as possible. Also, we try to showing to the people how can optimizing treatment system we can optimize to the economic factor of the plants through obtain products with a good potential, not only like a product with a good quality, but in the marketing or sales subject to. In Argentina, we have a very great productive activity in the primary sector, and it's very important to us find the way through the circular economy in order to improve all the practices and incorporate best practices like the use from organic fertilizer, for example, and improve the soils in order to optimize the use of the soils too. Maybe the principal challenge that we have is the information. It's very strong, obtain information from the municipalities, because they don't have a system for recovery this optimization, this information. So we, about this project, we can try to do a baseline for the municipalities to improve that problem. Another maybe challenge is because Argentina is a federal country with a very important geographically, environmental, economic, and social diversity. And the same way in Argentina have a lot of resources. Applying the treatment in the north It's not the same composting, for example, in the center or in the south of the country. So one of the challenge is to create the condition so the regulations can be applied taking into account the local condition, and that was accompanied with the capacity, the local capacity, and are installed also at all the levels, private and public sector. Also make it understanding to stakeholder how we can achieve the highest cost benefits in the plants by obtaining good products. We know that, for example, if we want compost in a good way, we need a minimal requirement for example, machinery or equipment. If we have waste, if the waste is not enough to the composting plan, we have we don't found the better improvement about the compost obtained. So it's important in that case that we know what is the minimal requirements and what is the minimal quantity of waste that we can use, so in order to optimize the use of the plant. And maybe another things that you comment is about the partnership between public and private sector. That is very important because we try to make understand to the local or in our trainings the importance to create a synergy from logistic and waste availability. We think it are about centralized treatment plants that can be managed by municipalities, for example, with private capital, and that provide them with the treatment services of their waste, which is a necessity, and that are integrated with this waste with other waste of the municipal origin to solve the municipal problems. Then create a synergy from centralized plants maybe are very good solutions with the contribution of the public and private sector. Maybe the private treatment plants use municipal waste to obtain product that can later sales or market. No. Maybe we call win-win relationship between the private and public sector. So maybe when we think about the solution for the valorization, optimize the valorization, we immediately think that we need to compost more in all levels. We need biodigestate more, and maybe the principal answer for all these questions is valorize, and valorize ever any materials that or ways that that was possible valorize. Thank you very much.
I think those are that excellent set of questions, Daniel, and thank you, Patricia, for your responses there. I think they really added a lot to the presentation and our understanding of the project and work in Argentina. I just want to link, before we go to Q&A, I just want to link also because we have a a partner of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition online as well, Clara Zimmerman, who's from the Global Methane Initiative, and here comes Clara on cue. GMI, they work very closely with CCAC. They've also worked in these countries as well, particularly on methane abatement and recovery. It's a private-public sector partnership, which has been going now for almost 20 years. Clara, I know you also have some reflections as well on some of the areas that were chosen, particularly on the work that you've done on biogas and waste to energy. Would you like to add something to the conversation?
Sure. Thanks, Donovan. I'll just say a few words on GMI, and I have like 2 slides. I'll be really quick. Really
That's
appreciate everyone's presentations today. And so, as Donovan said, my name is Clara Zimmerman. I'm from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and EPA hosts the Secretariat of the Global Methane Initiative. So GMI is a multilateral partnership. We work with countries to advance methane mitigation and closely with CCAC as well. And we work in 3 main sectors: biogas, coal, and oil and gas. And I just want to mention that Ghana is currently serving as our vice chair of our steering committee. So it's been great to work with Dr. Benefo. Our biogas sector includes agriculture, manure management, municipal solid waste, and municipal wastewater. So we provide free tools, technical assistance, and policy support to help countries remove barriers in the development of biogas projects. And this also includes a biogas toolkit with over 30 tools and resources that facilitate biogas project development. So I'll leave it there. I know in the Q&A we'll hear a lot more of the previous presentations, but I'll put my email in the chat and feel free to get in touch. And thanks for letting me say a few words, Donovan.
It was great, Clara. It was even more concise than I could have ever imagined. It was, but it was nice. And thanks for putting your contact details there. And please contact Clara to follow up more on their work as well. There's been a large number of questions put in the group chat, so I think we'll get started with those and see how we go. I think most of them are obviously directed at Argentina, but I'd be really happy if, Daniel, you came back online, and also Clara as well, if you came back online, if you wanted to address some of them. So I'll summarise them. Also, people have been putting on the chat there some resources and some other project experiences and materials. So that's really great to see. So I'd also welcome that if people feel as though they have some particular projects they would like to share, or materials which I think are really pertinent to this conversation. So a couple of them that really stood out, Patricia, that I think were very, very useful to think about. There are a number of good projects in a lot of countries. We know that projects themselves have an important role to play, but most importantly, in terms of what we need to achieve under the Global Methane Pledge of reducing methane emissions by 30% by 2030, we need to go to scale, and we need to be able to scale up from projects. So what are the plans in Argentina in terms of taking these successful projects or the lessons from these projects and replicating them at scale at the national level? That would be really interesting to hear your reflections on that.
Thank you, Donovan. I think the most important activity that related the reduction about methane emissions is because we need to do from these activities create a guideline to directed to municipalities in how it is like a guide or a methodology, like then can follow some of the steps first, in the first place, to valorize these their wasted. Know what waste of organic origin we can use to optimize the treatment and valorize in order to reduce the methane emissions. Of course, if you valorize, we diverted or deviate this waste from the final disposal. So one of our activities, the center or the focus is create that guidelines for municipalities in order to municipalities market, because 2 of the 3 pilot projects has executed in markets. That is very important because in the market, in that sense, we have done or we create 2 strategies. The first one is prevention about the generation of organic waste. And it's like maybe the model that was implemented for the central market. In the first place, if you can reduce or prevent the quantity of that kind of waste, you can mitigate the emission, because all that wasted are treated in different kind of treatment, like composting or anaerobic digestion, and we can maybe reduce the emissions in the final disposal, principally. And we can use the biogas, for example, or the digestate too. We have 2 products that we can use.
I think related to that, Patricia, too, there's been a few questions on, the financial sustainability of the projects in terms of lessons learned. I know that's a question that's come up a few times. That obviously we know from experience that waste management can be an extremely expensive exercise, and it doesn't recoup revenue. And one of the really interesting and important parts of the work that you're doing in Argentina is seeking to valorize the waste value chain and demonstrate the resource aspects of waste. But having said that, even given that, obviously, the price for perhaps compost, or the price for even those things that have been valorized, can be very low. The market value can be very low. And also, the financial sustainability and cost recovery aspects are still very, very difficult in terms of the work that you've been doing. So do you want to reflect a little bit on, how financially sustainable has this work proven to be, and what lessons do you think there are for others that are concerned about the cost of moving to these kinds of initiatives?
Yes, about this, thank you, Donovan. About this, I think that the strategy of separation is the focus, because if you find the way to separate, optimize the separate in the origin, we can propose treatments in sites, and you don't need to transport this waste to, the first one, in the disposal site, or to another treatment plant. And we reduce, in that case, one important cost. Or maybe another problem that we have here in Argentina is related to the cost, to the implementation for the treatments related to controlling and monitoring the plants too. And maybe is the problem that we can find not only for the organic fraction. We have this problem with the inorganic like plastic and other materials too. So this is important to maybe the focus in the treatment in the same sites when the wastes are produced.
That's great, Patricia, and it actually addresses another question that came up in terms of where the separation takes place, and clearly it's the closest level to the household, which is critical. And I think that something else you said there was very important, is that the valorization that occurs from that effective separation does not only benefit the organic value chain, but also non-organic products, so particularly plastics and others that, you know, we know that there's a lot of pressure at the moment on a global agreement on plastics, but of course, if we don't separate organic waste from plastics, we undermine the value of plastics and we undermine that circular economy as well. So I think that really addresses the question very nicely that somebody else was asking. I want to ask something which even Clara, you could come up on, or even Daniel, if you want to come back into this issue as well. But somebody's obviously raised the issue that you still have existing landfills and they still have problems of sustainability and methane emissions. So what are you doing with the rehabilitation of the existing landfill sites? Obviously, an important part of that rehabilitation is lessening the volume of organic waste, of new organic waste that is coming into landfills, but you have existing landfills. What kind of initiatives are you taking to improve the performance of those landfills, and particularly to reduce emissions from those landfills? And happy for Clara to come in and talk about the work that you've done with countries, or Daniel also to reflect on rehabilitation and management of landfills. Thank you.
Just jumping in here, I'm sorry, I know that Clara had to jump off for another call, but I'm also wondering if maybe our colleague Sandra wants to jump in here.
Absolutely.
Because we were also just, just talking about this opportunity now to scale up biogas.
Perfect, great. Sandra,
Well,
very
actually, yeah, no, actually before jumping to biogas and like in the different ways, I know maybe actually Norberto, who's also with the Ministry of Environment, he can talk about a little bit about what's going on in Argentina regarding landfills. But maybe we can give the word to Daniel, because I know that in Accra there's been a lot of work on rehabilitating some of the open dumps. So maybe Daniel, you can tell us a little bit about what's going on there, and what are they doing to make sure that the biogas is captured. Can you see online?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw a colleague of mine from the Ministry of Sanitation. I think he would have been the right person to give us some operational or issues regarding the management of the landfill site. But I think one point that is quite interesting is about the what happens to decommission landfill sites, and also the work that is going on regarding biogas. I want to stay focused on the biogas, and wish to say that the experiences with biogas in Ghana had been mixed, in a sense that it is a technology that had suffered an identity crisis, in a sense that if you go to energy will tell you that biogas is not an energy solution as it is right now. All right. And then if you go to the Ministry of Sanitation, the amount of attention on biogas is not as it is when you look at the other types of waste disposal methods. And in that regard, we are working with the ministry. We are going to work with the Ministry of Sanitation of Ghana to really draw attention on biogas, and also working with the Biogas Association So 2 points. The first one is about the issue of standardization of biogas, the construction, the maintenance, access to services, safety issues are still missing. And we really want to work with the Minister of Sanitation and the Association of Biogas to really provide some clarity on that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is also about the bad experiences in the past. We have done an inventory of biogas across the country, and each one of them have their own bad experiences. Either it was as a result of an over-design issue, lack of performance, low yield of the gas, poor maintenance, lack of access to biogas services, and all the rest. And as a result, the biogas as a solution had not seen the level of success that we wanted. So again, we want to work together to correct the past. Over.
I think it's really interesting, Daniel, and it's really sort of a bit of a reality check on those that might see, relatively simple technology solutions to landfill issues and problems. Patricia, have you worked in this space as well? What have you been able to do in the case of Argentina? Is it similar kinds of challenges, and if so, how have you managed to move beyond them?
Thank you. Yes, actually, we have the same challenge from the biodigestion, because we can find in all the territory some complexity about the treatment. In the pilot project, for example, it's a market, and we in part of the work that we have done is training to operator, for example, because it's a very good technology installed in a market, in a municipality, and maybe the market. For the market, or for the directive of the market, is very difficult to maintain all the things associated to the biodigestion treatment. But the first one is the training to the operator, is the basically, but and they have some problems in that case. And then they optimize the use of the biogas, for example, because they can use the biogas for some hours, from 8 to 12 hours. And they need to improve all the maintenance things in order to improve the treatment. And after, we need, in order to apply the digestate, to standardize the process. And if you want to standardize the process, we need to know exactly the quantity of waste that we can treat every day in the biodigestion treatment. So there are many things, and the challenge is the same that Daniel maybe exposed in that comment.
Donovan, if I may, I just want to make sure that we understand that the biogas comes from two sources. One is the landfills, which is where the question was about what are they doing about landfills in Argentina, and that I know that in Norte Tres, which is one of the biggest landfills in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, they do have a landfill gas project. And they are generating electricity, and that was actually made possible because the government allowed for the electricity to be put to be bidded. So there were good bids for it. And I'm not sure about the other ones. I haven't been following up too much on many landfills in Argentina, but I know it is something that the government is working on. And I might actually ask Norberto, because he, like I said, he works with the government. Norberto, if you want to jump in and give us a little bit more information, that would be great. Norberto, like Patricia mentioned, he is working in the development of a methane roadmap, which includes the waste sector. So they're going to be looking at how many landfills there are in Argentina, and if they are landfill gas projects and how much they're capturing, all of that information to be part of the methane roadmap. So Norberto, I'll pass it on to you because you know Argentina much better than I, even though I love Argentina, and maybe I should go back and go to all the landfills. Just go ahead, Norberto.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Well, just no, I want to add a comment to you, Sandra, that you mentioned Norte 3. Yes, they have capture of gas, they produce electricity, but you can see the satellite imaging from carbon mapper or GHG-SAT that is a big emitter of methane. So they capture, but there are still emission of methane. Well, I don't know which is the solution. The solution is to produce less waste, no? It's a change of mentality of the people, and to start with, like Patricia mentioned, the circular economy.
Yes, definitely. I was going to say, yeah, this is Norte 3 was featured in that, and it's going on in many landfills. Nonetheless, like they mentioned, you know, a lot of waste. There's still a lot of waste that is in the landfills, and there's going to produce methane. So that we need to seek solutions to reduce that methane that is going out. And I know that that's something that Global Methane Hub is working on a lot. Yeah, but like going back to the other landfills, I think that maybe it is good to put a better system, but the better solution is not to stop taking organics. And so the other source of organic or other biogas is the anaerobic digestion plants, which Patricia mentioned that there are 10 in Argentina and 3 are municipal. So that is, I mean, and then, you know, the challenges that she presented that are similar to the challenges that Daniel presented, you know, that is something that why this project is so important, this CCAC project in Argentina, because we really want to make sure that promote this type of technology, particularly for clean sources of organic waste that from the markets or from progressive municipalities that are willing to bet on the separation of organic waste. So, but still, there are other challenges, not just the clean organic waste. Like in the presentation, she mentioned, you know, there's lack of capacity, lack of even the energy model, financial issues, all of that. You know, they're identifying all those issues and trying to find ways to work around, and that's what CCAC is hopefully doing. And hopefully with this, why these webinars are so important, because any ideas of how they can address those challenges are welcome. And so I'll stop there, and I turn it back. Well, actually, Patricia, I don't know if you want to respond to my comments, and then I'll hand it back to Donovan.
Thanks, Sandra. That's great. Patricia, yeah, it'd be fantastic to hear your reflections, and then I'm going to go to a couple of questions from the floor.
Yes, more recently, we have another landfill with the methane capture that is in Tucumán. This is the Overa Pozo landfill. Maybe in 2022, we are visit Tucumán and for the visit that landfill. In that way, the municipal biogas are successfully in 2 municipal here in Argentina, in Entre Rios, but there are installed in very small municipalities that with a very strong program with separate in origin. And for that reason, in that 2 municipal plans, that is maybe the 2 only municipal plans from biodigestion. And the principal focus of their successful is that are separate their wasted and very good because have 20 years of separate wasted in the municipalities. So it's a very good example for small municipalities, but we can maybe replace this initiative in another municipalities too.
Thank you, Patricia. I think that also at the beginning of today, we encourage people to put up topics for future webinars and seminars and country experiences. So obviously we're moving into areas here, which is, there's enormous amount of interest. So I think that if people want to also add into the Q&A, you know, I'd love a session on biogas and waste. I would really like to see another session on landfill rehabilitation and operations. So I think that please put those in, and we will be as responsive as possible, because CCAC has a huge number of partners doing fantastic work and countries doing great work in waste. And as you can see, they're also very honest about the challenges and the difficulties. So I think if you see topics that you'd like much greater attention to, then please let us know through the chat. And of course, please also have a look at the CCA website, because it has a lot more information on the Argentina project and Argentina work, as well as Ghana, of course. So you can keep up to date there and see much more details around the project materials as the work progresses. I know that we've got Anya, also a keen supporter of CCAC, online as well. Philip had a question there before, but I think he's dropped off for a bit. But if you have, we'll take a few questions from the floor. If you can briefly introduce yourself, direct the question, and we'll try and take a couple from the floor before we wrap up. But Anya, I've seen your hand up for a while, so please fire away.
Yeah, thank you, Donovan. Yeah, short introduction. I'm one of the 3 co-leads of the Waste Hub. I'm from Germany, the German Environment Agency. And I think in Germany we have extensive experience on all types of biogas plants. So it was refreshing, and I was delighted a bit also to hear about your challenges, because they are typical. Yeah, the identity crisis, which we heard of from Ghana. What am I? Am I an energy plant, an agricultural plant, if it's a farm waste, or am I a waste issue? And the fact that you drop between these spaces of all the chairs all the time. So that's a classic, and I think there needs to be a government strategy for that. That is one of the learnings from Germany. You need to have clear incentive schemes and like a strategy from the government. Otherwise, it's too difficult for the individual municipality or plant to rise up. So I think it could be interesting to discuss with the national government at some level in the projects as well. And then a second part is biogas is by no means an easy technology. That's actually already a highly industrial plant. You create a lot of methane emissions, which are fugitive emissions if you don't maintain and operate the plant properly. So that's considerable, and that is probably part of what we also see from the landfill gas projects in Argentina, because as I see the plume over the landfill there could be emissions from the gas motors and from the gas capturing to the motors in landfill gas. So we need to really pay this attention that these plants have to be well operated, up to the point that they can be a bomb. And I have to be honest on that. We had several explosions in Germany in agricultural plants due to mismanagement. So we have also guidelines on safety, which I think they're mostly in German, but if you are interested also in safety guidelines, safe operation and stuff like that, please come and address me also from the projects. We overdo it with safety sometimes in Germany, you might think, but we have a lot of experience, so you can pick what you need. So that would be the comments onto the projects. And the last point I would like to make, in order to implement this technology, I saw very interesting examples outside of Germany in South Africa as B2B models. They do business to business models. So they take from the large industry producing, for example, food, having batches wrongly and stuff like that, digest the waste on a very large professional digestion site, feed energy or gas into a grid at one point, and then they have a contract with another company, which is an automotive company, to offtake the energy at a different point of the grid. Yeah, so it's no direct feeding. So it's a 3-industry collaboration: food industry, biogas industry, and an off-taker of clean green energy, because the companies will need that under the decarbonization scheme. And I think we will get, if we get through decarbonization efforts in the industry and in countries, we will see a good opportunity for the biogas sector, because it can create biomethanol for the chemical industry as a green, non-fossil based product. You can create biomethane for fuel. You create green energy in those plants. So I believe the push, once we come into global ideas of decarbonization, true decarbonization of the energy systems and of the industry systems, there's a huge opportunity for the waste sector and the biogas. And last but not least, I especially like the efforts to care about the digestate, because the biogas is maybe only 10%, and we focus on that because that's what we want to have. But the clean digestate, the separate collection you do, especially in Argentina, congrats, yeah. It's hard to find ways how to market the digestate, I know. In Germany, the digestate goes almost 100% to agriculture, which requires extremely high standards in the input. Yeah. And last but not least, wastewater digestate is something which we see relatively critical to put on the field, because you have a lot of, even when it comes from septic tanks, you have a lot of still medicine and other things, and even antibiotics and whatever in this sludge, which might be harmful and critical if you continuously bring it to the field. So you have to have a relatively extensive monitoring of that. But in the end, I think everyone who presented here is absolutely on the right track. All the experience, it takes time, but I encourage you to go ahead. And whenever you have questions, also relate, ask me a question. Maybe we can share experience from Germany. Yeah. And thank you for all your efforts here.
Thank you, Anya. Norberto, I think you've got your hand back up. Is that up to speak? And then we'll wrap up as soon as you've spoken. If you do want to speak again, there you are.
Yes, thank you. No, in Argentina, you can't sell the biogas. You can send to the grid. You can use your for your own biogas or to produce electricity, and then yes, you can send the electricity to the grid. But there is well, certain regulations that you can sell the biogas to, I don't know, for cars or other use. No, for waste in Argentina, we have a program for solid waste that is implemented with grants from a loan from the Inter-American Bank. It's GIRSU 1, now it's GIRSU 2. That is to, as Patricia mentioned, Argentina is a federal country, so each municipality is responsible for their waste. So with this loan from the Inter-American Bank, the national government supports the municipalities to have landfills or transform the open dam to landfill. And there is another program for the closure of open dams. There are near 5,000 open dams in Argentina. Small open dams near 1 or 2 hectares. And the Ministry of Environment is involved to plan the project to reduce this open dam. Now we are applying for a loan with the World Bank with 3 components. One is for wildfire, another is for waste, another for air quality. And the components for waste, the project is to reduce 20 open dams in Argentina.
Thank you.
And
sorry.
about methane, about methane, the large sources in Argentina is the agriculture, it's enteric fermentation. The second is waste, and the third, the last one is oil and gas.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's fantastic. Thank you for that input. I think we've got time for one more quick question before we do a wrap up. Fred, I see you've got your hand up there. You'll be the lucky last in terms of a question from the floor. So if you would like to take the microphone.
Thank you so much, Story, and thank you, Patricia and Daniel, for the wonderful presentations this afternoon and evening. I would like just to be very direct to my Patricia. You don't know me, I'm called Fred Onyai. I'm the national consultant for CCAC in Uganda. My question is on the practical issues and his experience from countries like Uganda. What is your experience in the participation of the local people, especially the women and the young people? I know the women in Uganda are quite interesting. They get involved in the value chain activities when it comes to valorization of waste, because they have got a lot of interest in it and they do it with a lot of keenness. But when it comes to the youth, the young people, there's tendency of running away from this job. They look at it as a dirty job because it begins from the scratch, begins from sorting, from the source up to the landfills. Then the whole process to them is dirty. It's a dirty money, so they wouldn't go for it. What's your experience in Argentina? I know in Ghana it could be very far from Uganda, though I'm overshooting. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. The young people here in Argentina are a movement. They are very participate in some things, environmental things. But I think that like society, we need improve the knowledge in the first place, but we need improve the actions in order to separate the waste and composting in our homes, for example. Maybe we have a participation for women, for and young people, and we need some strategies in order to obtain best results in that way. I think that in Argentina we have maybe a young community, spectacular in that sense. They fight with their thinkiness maybe, and I think that that kind of things that improve in the future. But like political issues, we need straighten that things with the citizens in order to find the other ways to recovery materials in the good ways, no? Of course.
Thank you, Fred. I think you've also identified a great future topic, actually, because I think that this really needs, particularly, I think with any kind of major initiative like we've heard from Argentina, but we hear across, obviously, the climate community, much more of a focus on social inclusion and just transitions and engagement with communities and change and opportunities, greater opportunities in that change. And Fred, I know that, you know, Latin America have really led the way in terms of recognising, politically and legally recognising waste cooperatives and waste workers, and in terms of ensuring that they achieve certain levels of representation and also dignity in their work and support through resources and also wages as well. So that's perhaps a future topic. There's a few more that have come up there in the meeting chat. They look fantastic. I think we've had a great session today. I'm just going to take the floor for one last minute in thanking Patricia and thanking. I think there's a few things that have really come out of today's session. I think going back to right at the beginning of the session, the focus on regulations and regulations which particularly support valorisation and the creation of markets and quality controls over what we valorise through the waste system is extremely important, and Argentina has been active there. I think the decentralised infrastructure closer to the source of waste has really come through, including the benefits of biogas at the market level, so people see the immediate benefits of behaviour change and engagement. I think the information and system sharing and data sharing across municipalities and national level government and ministries has also been very important, including an engagement of the private sector in that data sharing. I think that that's also been quite clear. And of course, going back to a question that was asked, you know, separation at source. And if we really want to change organics in terms of waste and in terms of methane emissions, what have you, that separation at source and maintaining that separation to increase value and to get organics out of the waste system and out of landfills is really critical from a climate perspective, but also from a health perspective as well. So I'd like to thank the speakers one more time. Please have a look on our website for updates on this project. Thank you very much for all of the suggestions for future recipes for success webinars, and we'll certainly know a number of countries that are leading the way in those areas. So again, thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to keeping in touch. Have a great day.
Thank you to all. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you and bye. Great webinar.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Bye.